Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I decided to do a video which is actually out of the 31 days of witchcraft series or challenge by Heather Carter. And there are some topics I watched the videos of that series on her channel as well on Lisa's channel at Supportive Tarot. And I find it quite interesting, especially because I um, really thought about deepening my spiritual practice and exploring the witchcraft aspect of that and adding that layer into my spiritual practice, and doing a little bit more research of what is out there, what is possible, I what I like and what I resonate with. So that really helps. And some of the topics in that challenge of the 31 days of witchcraft, um, I really liked, and I really wanted to do a video response to that, because I already incorporated that into my practice, into my spiritual practice, because in terms of witchcraft, I don't do a lot of witchcraft, at least what I believe witchcraft is, but that could be a lot of nonsense because I don't have a lot of um experience and knowledge about witchcraft. So maybe I already do a lot of witchy things and I just didn't consider them, or I just don't consider them witchcraft. So for today's video and today's topic, today's prompt in that series is: do you work with a specific animal spirit? Which animal and why? And animal spirits or spirit animals is a huge part of my spiritual work. Um, Even as a kid, I always loved animals. I loved pets, animals, all of that stuff. I collected everything to do with horses, with dogs. I always envisioned myself when I was grown up finally that I would do something with animals in terms of career. I wanted to help animals. I always wanted to live with a lot of animals and pets. And I always envisioned that I would live in a huge house with a huge garden, so that I could have a lot of animals. And not only the pets, like cute dogs and cats and guinea pigs and rabbits and horses, but also wild animals. I loved going into the zoo when I was a kid, or experiencing these types of animals, seeing them. Also, now that I'm grown up, I know that zoos aren't the perfect thing for those animals a lot of the times, as well as circuses and all of that stuff. But as a kid, you don't really know that, or you just don't want to believe it. At least I, was just fascinated seeing those animals so close, to myself. So, as I started my spiritual practice, which started basically with like my crystal collection, my fascination for crystals, my love for crystals, and diving deeper into the work with those energies, as well as with pendulums, and after that, a long time after that, actually, with cartomancy. I discovered that there were cartomancy or oracle decks out there that had to do only with animals. And then I discovered that animal spirit spirits, and working with those animal energies was actually a thing. So then I connected those, and I finally realized that um, the reason behind I was drawn to animals, and the reason behind I was drawn to some of the animals that you see here a lot, as well as how I could work um, with those energies and all of that stuff. So for me, these two animals that you see here are my personal spirit guides, spirit animals, the main ones that I work with all of the time, because these are the two that I really have a strong connection with, and they're just in my heart, and they called to me. So the first one that I discovered was a spirit animal of mine was the wolf energy, and this is a pretty traditional and common energy that a lot of people feel drawn to or work with, or um, have as a spirit animal or an animal guide. Um, at least in our community, I have a feel. Um, but a wolf for me is something very special. I always, even as a child, felt very connected to dogs. I always wanted to have a million dogs if I could, and not just the cute dogs, but also the wild um, ancestor behind that, so to speak, the wolf. I always wanted to see wolves live with my own eyes, and in those wild parks when they had wolves there, I always couldn't understand the fear that people have when it comes to the wolf, and I always couldn't connect to the wolf being depicted as a bad, um, always being the bad guy in all of those children's stories and such. Because for me, that wasn't what the wolf was all about. I I just didn't see, and I can't see the wolf as this bad, really dangerous being. I can understand that you need to have respect in terms of working with the wolf, and the wolf is a predator animal. Um, but fear is a little bit too much for me. And I always wanted to go behind the fence and just live with the wolves and cuddle them and being with them in the pack. And I find it so fascinating, and I always get goosebumps watching wolves and hearing wolves howling and stuff. And when I started to realize that animal energies and spirit animal guides and stuff were a thing, and I started reading about the wolf and what that could represent. It really, some of the ideas and energies that I found really fitted. So the wolf is a very, very special one for me, and it will always be by my side. Um, and therefore, I have over there another wolf card on my reading space. This is from the Earthbound Oracle. It's not actually saying wolf, it says voice. Actually, let me grab it. So it's not like from a animal deck. Um, but I love this depiction. I love the white wolf howling. I love the universe, the stars, the cosmos behind it. It almost looks like it's coming out of its mouth while howling, and I love the keyword voice um, connected with that as well, because I also have a lot to do with my voice, with speaking up, with a throat chakra and all that stuff. So this really fits quite well. And this lives over on my reading space, as you saw. The second animal that I work with and that will always be in my heart and by my side, I really feel a very strong connection to this as well. This is my second animal spirit guide, so to speak, is the stingray. And this is a little bit of more of an unusual animal than the wolf. And I actually discovered that a little bit later as I discovered the wolf energy that wants to be on my side. So the stingray, I first connected with that when we were in sea life. We don't have those huge sea lives with the orca shows and stuff. Our sea life is really small, and it just has some yeah, it's all indoors, and it just has some I don't know what the English word is, some fish tanks in there. And one of the bigger ones has stingrays, and the one that has stingrays is like you can stand around it and you can look through the water. It's actually open at the top. And those stingrays, I was so fascinated by that. Um, I really, the most of the time that we were inside sea life, I was at that tank where they had the stingrays inside. Um, and those stingrays really could sense where people are standing, and they would come to the place where you are standing and get up, even out of the water. Sometimes even half of the stingray was out of the water and facing you, and that was such a special experience. And even when we were there the second or third time when I had birthday, when and one stingray came up to me especially and really rose out of the water like it wanted to say, "Hey, happy birthday." I know that sounds cheesy, but it was such a special experience, and I love watching them. Like they are gliding, almost like flying through the water. Um, and that ease and that flow, you really get that sense of flow with the stingrays, but also of majesty and really something special. So I I feel really drawn to those, and there are not a lot of animal decks out there that have stingray energy in them. Some more on in terms of animal tarots, but in terms of animal oracles, not a lot actually. Um, but I love to work with this energy when I need to get back into the flow, just accept things as they are, just get a little bit out of my head. Um, Also with the chakras and finding my inner peace. Um, Yeah, I just love to work with those. So this is the second animal that is my animal spirit. And then down here I have some other ones that show up sometimes. They're not like my main animal spirits that I work with all the time, but they have a little bit also a special meaning to them, and they show up in times when I need them. And the first thing is the snail. And the snail is actually because when I was a little girl, I always loved to go to my grandma and stay with her even overnight, sometimes even for a week. And she always called me Snail. And that was because when I was a little kid and we were going into a bakery to get some sweet things, some pastries. We here in Germany, we have one that is like a spiral, and so we call it actually, if you would translate it really blunt and in words, we call it snail noodle. So, and I always had issues with pronouncing that. And so the word snail or the yeah, she always called me Snail because of that. And so that when I see a snail, it always reminds me of that. And I have a really special connection to my grandma and to that times when I was with her and I could actually go outside of my home and yeah, being with her instead. So that is really a very personal connection that I have with snail energy. And I really found that the snail energy has some things that I need to learn, especially with patience, with being okay when things are moving slowly, and also with being, yeah, more confident in terms of the snail has always its protection and its home with itself. So that's that, and going with it with your own pace, in your own pace as well. Another energy that always shows up when something very important happens and something that is or will be important to me and will have a very important meaning to me is the squirrel energy. So we have some squirrels right around where I live. So when I go on a walk with my dog or something, sometimes you can see or hear them. And a very special, and I love just watching them. They're so damn cute. Um, and a very special thing that happened was they almost always show up even though when I didn't see them for quite a while, for even a month, on Mother's Day, when I go on a walk with my dog, so that my mother, yeah, has free time instead. And I go very early in the morning, they always show up to like to say, yeah, it's the right thing that you're doing. Your mother is very important. So take care of her. And the one very special thing that happened was when on the first date with my boyfriend, um, I waited for him outside, because he had some issues with finding the location. So he was actually 5 minutes or so late and he called to me. And when he called me to explain what was going to or what happened and where he was, um, a squirrel actually showed up while I was waiting for him. And it really sat right in front of me. Like it was literally so close and it wasn't afraid or anything like that. It just sat there with me and waited with me. And I haven't experienced that at all for squirrels to come that close. Even we have on our graveyard, we have also squirrels, and they are used to humans, and they get food from humans and stuff, and they're not really shy, but they always still keep a little bit of distance. That squirrel didn't, and it wasn't sick or anything like that. It was really special, and it was such a special moment for me. I will always remember that. And it was a special thing that happened on that day, or that started that day, the relationship with my um, now boyfriend. So, squirrel energy, always reminding me when something is really important in my life, when I need to realize that. And the last energy that shows up, and I'm a fan of the energy and the message, but I'm not a fan of spiders at all. I'm actually afraid of them. Um, so, what a coincidence that out of all the animals you could get, the spider shows up, especially in times when something new happens or something really excited happens, when I really get nervous or anxious, and then the spider shows up, which is not really great because I'm already in that anxious or nervous state at least. And when I see a spider, that nervousness and anxiety gets up even a little bit more because I'm afraid of them. But the energy that they are depicting, or the message that they are giving me, fits in that state of like when I had the first day in a new job or something like that. They really remind me that you are creating your own web, um, that you need to be believing in your ability to and your power that you have, that you are able to connect to others and all of that stuff. So it really works, but it's really a coincidence. What a coincidence. Um, and really strange that the animal that causes anxiety in me shows up with a lesson in the times when I'm anxious. So I would really be interested if you have that same experience, because it's really strange. But yeah, these are the animal energies that I work with, or that I have a special connection to. How I work with them: when I feel the need with those, I work all of the time. I have a card out for each of those, and yeah, research, read, journal about them. With those, I take them out when I feel the need to work with those energies, or when the animals like the squirrel and the spider showed up again and wanted to connect to me. I also pull one card from a animal oracle that I have in my collection for 1 month, um, to work with, which has a reminder of the energy that I need to be aware of, that I need to lean into, work more with, or let go of in that month. And that is something that I do, that is quite new to my practice. And I talked about the first pull was the tortoise that I worked with last month. I talk about that experience in my crystal reflection video for April. And that animal that I pulled stands right there. So for the month of May, it's shaky camera. It's the hawk energy that really fitted, as well as for the month of April, the tortoise energy really fitted. And I have these two animal decks currently in my collection. The first one was the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle by Krans, very well known. And the second one that I recently got at the beginning of April, where I started the um, the pick a card for the month was or is the Fauna Inspiration Nature Inspired Illumination cards by Rebecca Lefebvre and Phoebe Hunt. I probably butchered that name, which is gorgeous and very special. I got it. I got this one. Oh my gosh. I got this one over at Little Red Tarot. And for this one, I haven't heard and seen this one a lot, which is, I have the feeling that this really deserves more, yeah, more popularity, more attention, because as you saw, those images are so gorgeous. They're all watercolor. They have the messages at the back. So you can really pick out the things that you resonate with in the moment. And they have really a rough, it really feels like aquarelle paper or like tapestry paper. It really has a texture to it. I don't know if you can see it. A really special cardstock, but it really holds up quite well, even though it is quite flimsy, but it holds up and it shuffles well. And I love the texture. When I work with animal energy, I have the feeling that it really fits. And the two posts that I had for April and now for May really fitted and really helped me to get through the problems, the issues, and the month. So, perfect deck for that. So, this was it for the tag of the 31 Days of Witchcraft by Heather Carter. I would love to hear your thoughts about my spirit animals, about the decks that I showed you, about how I work with it. Also, do you work with animal spirits? What are your animal spirits? Um, yeah. If you already did a response to it, let me also know down in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, you guys, bye.